Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday. We're back, and markets are burning on fire. Today, we have a very exciting talk with a journalist who's going to actually be talking for the entire time, and nobody else will be allowed to speak. So please stay tuned for that. No, I'm just kidding. I can't torture you guys that much. We're back just for another regular talk. But we do have a quant who is interested in doing an AMA. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and we'll get that planned out. But otherwise, welcome back, everyone.
I mean, even as a joke, that was hurtful and traumatic.
Journalist's not that bad, is he?
Dude, that's all I gotta say. That's bad.
Bad, dog. It's bad.
Grand Rising family, Grand Rising. How y'all doing this morning?
Grand Rise doing great, brother. It's gonna be a great day.
Oh, it is. I already made 500 this morning. Let me tell you, I got a couple. They're moving. This
Tell me.
CRKN, I got at 15 cents. I just got out at 85 cents. It's up like 300%, and that motherfucker is moving.
Damn.
I got in GERN. I haven't made any money yet. I jumped in and out of JSPR this morning. Been in and out. I don't know if I'll go back in. And then I made some money on PBLA this morning. One other thing I haven't made yet, HOTH, and then we got OBLG. Those are my 6 plays for today. I'm already up about 5 or 600. Game time, baby. Let's go.
Hey, HTH, I've been in it, but it seems like it's taking a downtrend ever since.
It is. So what you do is just buy the dip and wait on it, baby. Like, I mean, I can day trade, so I can do 30, 40 trades between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. So for me, I just go in and out and just fucking watch the screens all day, you know?
I'll keep an eye out on that because usually you get at least one of the tickers that blow up that day. Like Kala, that shit blew up.
It sure fucking did. I think I made like 1,800 on that bitch. I've been making some money, man. I'm telling you, 2023, I'm going hard. So y'all can laugh about it. You can fucking want to be on the board of all these quality companies, but at the end of the day, man, it's going to be a long year fucking chasing them coats. So
Yes,
I'll get back at y'all. Have a blessed day.
you too, brother.
Everybody's laughing at you. We're writing down your tickers. Trust me.
Well, that was a lot of plays
So-
quickly. I like that guy. That's a new guy. I like that. Sometimes we got a little bit of a dearth of plays here, and then me and Hardy are left filling in the gaps.
He's like
random trades. I like that.
He's like the polar opposite of journalist.
This is journalist alter ego.
He
We all
gets
got our
in,
twin somewhere.
he says his plays like, and he doesn't beat around the bush, and then he gets out.
Yep.
He's great. He's if our squeeze plays had a talking voice, and he just comes on in and he gives it to us and then he leaves. It's awesome.
So you guys, anybody got any thoughts on Tesla? We still buying the puts or what's good?
Dude, I bought those Tesla puts for $140 dated out in June when Tesla was $200 a share. And those things have printed. I mean, seriously printed.
I can only
I
imagine.
mean,
but
Tesla
think it's
shares
gonna
are
drop?
sliding. Tesla shares are sliding down worse than my dating standards.
COVID did a number on all of us.
What do you guys think about Apple being next to hit like 100?
Yeah, I see it happening. I think it'll hit 100 this year for sure.
For sure, man. I got puts for Apple as well.
Yeah, I think I called that last year. I was like, guys, Apple at 100 is unrealistic. And people were like, nah, you're crazy. I'm like, all right, guys, let's see it. Here we are. We're tumbling down.
Yep. The bubble is bursting.
Oh, I wouldn't say the bubble's bursting, but it's just the economy right now. But they'll definitely rebound.
My problem with Apple is like, on one hand, they have great cash flow, and they had a currency reserve. Like their cash on hand, like about in 2019, their cash on hand was so large it would have put them in the top 25 nations in the world. That's how much money Apple was sitting on. It was stupid. Anyway, times are different now. They've eroded their cash position, and they kept doubling down on China over and over and over again. Like it's like whenever anything happened with China, they just doubled down again and put more manufacturing there. And so, I mean, they have pretty asymmetric exposure to these COVID shutdowns and stuff like that, in my personal opinion. So I could see Apple in for a rough year.
Yeah, and to those points, I think they're playing the long game with China. I think overall, if you look at it from a 10-year basis, I think China doubling down on China is probably not a bad idea. But in the short term, it's going to hurt them more than I think they might even think. And with their cash position eroding at probably quite an alarming rate, I mean, people aren't going to be looking to buy the latest and greatest when, you got your grocery bill, skyrocketing due to inflation. And again, we still have that bullwhip effect where the inflation we're feeling now is still 6 months ago. So those price contracts, as they keep getting rewritten, you're going to see it more and more and more coming into this year. So again, with that lag effect plus their eroding cash position, to see them back at pre-COVID lows or pre-COVID prices at around $85 to $90 is not unrealistic this year. It will be a slow drop though. It won't be anything like Tesla's decline, but I do see Apple being that at that price again, and I have no issues picking it up below $100 whatsoever. Will it hit below 100? I think it will, but we'll see. Any other plays?
Nope. Let's grab journalist.
I've been trying to sell covered calls on my Teleron stock, but it keeps sliding down, so no one buys them.
I got an interesting play. I'm looking at playing these guys now that we're in a divided government. So typically the debt ceiling becomes a bit of a fight in the government that we're currently, operating in here in the U.S. And so when that debt ceiling fight happens, a lot of federal expenditures get paused or something like that. So I'm looking at using this as trying to time the market and getting a good entry point into a stock called DEA, Easterly Properties. They're basically the government's landlord. They're a REIT, but 98% of their tenancy is the United States federal government. And so basically they build buildings that they then rent to the U.S. government. That's what
Hold on 1 second. On that, are you playing this as a 2-year out? Because the debt ceiling's already raised for next year. They pushed through that bill before the year ended, remember?
Oh, they did that last minute, didn't they?
Yes, they did. So, yeah.
Well, I might just buy and hold it because I think it's going to hold up pretty well. Even if we have a recession, I'm pretty sure the U.S. government will probably still pay their rent. So I'm looking at it as like looking at that as like basically a U.S. Treasury backed REIT paying a pretty decent dividend. So
you think that they might be late on the rent, then have to pay a penalty or something?
No, they won't be because
they won't.
They're funded. They slid in the bill already. So if they didn't slid in the bill at the end of the year, then his play is correct. Shit might hit the fan because Republicans won't pass that bill. They're trying to get some weird things that they want. They use it as a bargaining chip, but since they already passed it, the Democrats already passed it before the year ended, and Mitch McConnell signed off. There is no play for at least for 2 years.
Yeah, I'm just coming back from vacation. You got a great point. I think I'm just going to buy and hold this thing for the dividend then, and look at it as like a REIT that's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. Sounds pretty good.
My other question would be, wouldn't this be already priced in? I mean, theoretically, if they would have to have this debate this year, wouldn't other people already know that this is something that generally happens every year, that this fight over the debt ceiling?
So I've looked at the stock. I've done a little bit of back testing on the stock on other debt ceiling fights, and there's a dip and a rip. There's a dip and a rip, buddy. So even though it happens, it still affects this stock when that happens.
Speaking of debt ceilings, has anybody heard of Jay Powell shedding off the balance sheet, or is he still holding all of those COVID-related assets. Because the last I checked a few months ago, maybe a few weeks ago, it's still pretty much very, very high. And you can check on TradingView. Can't remember the ticker, but it would basically show the U.S. Treasury holdings or the U.S. holdings in general in terms of assets on their balance sheet. Has anybody seen any sort of decline or shedding or quantitative tightening? I'll take that as a sad no.
Maybe journalists will have an answer for you.
So
I mean,
CPI
a little
supposed to come out today.
All right, bring out little Kramer.
I'm pretty sure it's the minutes that come out.
From what I know and understand about the balance sheet, they were just letting bonds run off and not renew them. What's going to happen in 23 is now they're going to start actively selling them on the market, and that hasn't happened yet. That's why you don't see the balance drop.
Right. So if they start offloading assets, and even if it is just bonds, I don't even know what the combination of assets were purchased. I really don't. I don't even know if anybody knows, to be honest. But if they do release it in the minutes, that would be nice to know. But in terms of your S&P 500, holdings, I wonder what they're going to let go of and how that would affect the SPY. That's my concern or my thought, because I think the lowest I want to see the SPY go is around 300 to 290, give or take. Now, that's like rock bottom. We've all kind of shit ourselves. So if we see it to that point, I'd definitely be scooping up at any SPY over under 300, I would say, or even under 325. But that's why I'm trying to time it. Well, I know you should never time the bottom, by the way, but I'm trying to look at when they're offloading the balance sheet regarding to any sort of S&P 500 assets versus the price, and see where that correlation lies, and start slowly buying in. Because I do have a lot of cash on hand. I wasn't touching much in 2022. I was playing options, of course, and that was obviously fun, but those are my plays.
So conceptually, they sell bonds. Let's say it's bonds because they did buy all assets, but the majority of what they need to offload are the bonds. That would make interest rates rise, which usually makes the market go down. So you could just DCA into it. Trying to catch that exactly is going to be hard, and they're not going to telegram. They're not going to telegram exactly what they're selling.
Oh no. But there's going to have to be some sort of pulse coming back to the public eye, where it's like, we're letting them run off, we're actively selling them. I don't know what rate they're going to be selling them at. I mean, if you look at Burry, he's been constantly saying that they need the quantity. Like they've kind of been, we'll use the word, taking it too lax on the quantitative tightening, which kind of pushed inflation to where it went. So I think that's where rates and bond selling will kind of push the market down even harder. And I mean, to recall everyone's memory, I think November of 2021 is where we hit our peak around that time, and now we've been kind of just slowly declining leg by leg. I don't know how many more legs we've got before it's considered to be the end of all ends, but I don't see SPY under 300 an unrealistic expectation. It's probably not going to happen, but I mean it's struggling to get past 350. Anyways, my plays are basically DCAing into SPY south of 350. So when I start seeing it go below 350 every paycheck, basically every 2 weeks, I'll just be picking up a few shares, or more than a few shares, or even covered calls or puts, depending on how I feel, or futures of some sort. Those are my plays. Very, very loose, and I'm sorry about that.
A couple of things that you might be able to keep your eye open for to give you a sign as to when the Fed might actually start offloading some of their assets. It's some of the other indicators that they're looking for to move in the direction that they want them to move in. So I think if you started to see things like unemployment rise and housing costs go down, et cetera, then you can bet that they'll try to sell into that environment, versus you have to look at their ability to for as tightening as the nuke. You know what I mean? That they might be holding in reserve.
100%. They want blood on the streets.
They're not gonna pull that card until they know they have to, or like if SPY starts fucking rallying irrationally to 425, then they'll start actually offloading their own assets. Like, I mean, common sense would dictate But in a situation like this where they can't really, like SPY's irrational strength right now, even though we're sitting at 382, you know what I mean? Everybody here with any sense knows that we should be much lower, right? So to sell into this environment right now might not have the effect that they want, right? So I mean, I think once they start to see that everything else is moving in the direction that they want, right? Because ultimately they want stocks to go burr, but they want inflation to go down, right? Like they do want strength in the equities market, right?
Yeah.
But it can't be them propping it up. And
it's a slow recovery. It'll take years, right? Like there's no way tomorrow morning we're gonna have it all fixed. This entire inflation of 2% market goal shouldn't happen until mid next year. So we're talking mid. I mean, that's my suspicion, because the longer they take to tighten, and the longer inflation lingers, the more the economy hurts, right? I mean, I've probably said this more than once on these calls, so I apologize if I sound like a broken record.
It is starting to look more and more realistic that they might actually be able to pull off a soft landing, and where there won't be a crash. It'll just be a gradual reduction, right? A gradual unwinding of leverage.
So how do you think SPY's going to react tomorrow? I heard there's some big tech meeting or like expo. Do you think SPY is going to react to that? And is there anything coming out of that tomorrow that's going to, move the market?
The SPY can react to J-Pow sneezing. Like the SPY is so contingent on so many things.
I think he's referring to the Consumer Electronics Show that's going on in Vegas, and that's not going to move the entire market. But depending on what gets displayed at the Consumer Electronics Show, could move individual companies. The one of the things that I saw is I guess Volkswagen's coming out with a electroluminescent car that can change colors.
Hey, quick question.
That's pretty dope.
Isn't the government already quantitative tightening right now? I think I missed some of the discussion, but they already started selling assets since like March or something.
The Fed taper. So yes, but if you look at the actual data, they're not tapering at any rate of speed. I mean, it would take years and years and years to sell at the current speed that they're tapering at. I think they're talking about a more pronounced sell-off.
Not to mention that I do think that there were a couple reports that showed increases in their balance sheets in that time frame.
Really? I thought this was the fastest QT they have done in a long time.
No,
it's the fastest rise in interest rates. It's not the fastest.
Yeah, and it's not even the fastest rise in interest rates if you count the 1970s. It's the fastest rise in interest rates if you exclude the 1970s when Volcker spiked the market and skyrocketed interest rates to get inflation under control. So if you exclude the one environment that was very similar to the environment we're currently in, yes, it is the fastest rise in interest rates.
Now, when Scald says spikes the market, he's referring to like Rob Gronkowski just scored a touchdown, picked up the market, and slammed it into the turf.
Yeah, that's exactly what Faulkner did. He raised interest rates to, I think, 20% was his terminal rate, which put the U.S. in an immediate recession and ended stagflation. What a beast. People were real mad at him for it, though. So there's that.
To that original question, I think your premise is right, though. The whenever they sell this $9 trillion or so of assets that we've acquired as the states, I don't think any of us really know what it's going to do, but I think down is probably a better coin flip if you had to pick one, right?
Yeah, speaking on my last couple, days of that, therapeutic, pharmaceutical companies thesis of the last, from December 20th to January 10th, they experienced high volume days. There's another ticker, VVOS. I mean, its average volume is 100,000, and it's already in pre-market at 2.7 million volume. And it just looks like it's going to have a good pump in the opening. but it's super volatile. It's gonna probably dump right after.
What's the ticker again?
VVOS. It's a therapeutic. It's based on the thesis that these pharmaceutical therapeutic companies get pumped and dumped through the Chinese market, as a lot of our market makers are on vacation still, so they don't control the market necessarily. It's mostly just retail trading.
Okay. You said BBOS?
V as in Victor, V as in Victor, OS.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I'd say that vacation's ending soonish. I'm back from vacation. I know a lot of people that are flying back from their vacation spots this week. So if that's your thesis notes, I think it might only last till middle of January.
Is that your way of trying to tell us, Skull, that you're super wealthy?
Oh no, I said January 10th, so that line's right about up.
Oh yeah, it does align right about up. Nice. Well done. Oh no, I know people who are. Let me just put it that way.
Hey, Notes, are you in that stock you mentioned? You have any shares?
Yeah, I picked up some shares.
Fuck it, why not?
Let's talk FOMC. Is there any place today on that coming out today? Meeting notes. I'm wondering if it's like a little dovish if things might fly.
Oh no, let me look. What's the ticker?
No, I'm talking about the FOMC.
Yeah, he's saying the Federal Open Market Commission is going to release information, and based on their sentiment, the markets might react. The general markets might react.
When does that come out? 2 p.m.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, like 3 million volume in pre-market, and its average 3-month volume is 100K. It's very abnormal. So what's everyone predicting on Tesla today?
Burn, baby, burn.
I think Tesla's at the bottom.
Yeah, I feel like it's finding its bottom, kind of like Meta found its bottom at around 100.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past it. Like, call that 100 for me, boys.
Well, I mean, what is the consensus on it being in a bubble and that bubble collapsing? You're saying that the bubble is finished collapsing? Why couldn't it have a spectacular failure to match its spectacular, meteoric, and unprecedented? Well,
it's not an EV company; it's a tech company, you know.
But it did already have.
I don't know.
It did already have the spectacular crash, right? Remember the PE was crazy last year, but it's been actually growing massively. Like their cash on hand, they're not levered like the other car companies, profit per car, all these things. And then also the hockey growth stick of EVs and legislation coming in 2030 that's going to ban ICE. Like right now, they're just suffering.
Did you see the? Do you see that the Model Y is not going to get the EV credit?
I think it depends on they have different versions.
No, the 5-passenger ones won't. Most of the ones that people get when they get the Model Y, you know, they're not saving money when they get the Model Y, and they get the 6-passenger, the one that qualifies for it. I think it's a weight thing or something.
Yeah,
Tesla hasn't had an EV credit for 2 years, maybe 3 actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that expired a while ago.
Yeah, if they're getting it, like I hear people being like, well, the Y's not going to have it. They haven't had it. They're just getting some that they haven't had. They've had way too many sales to be eligible.
Exactly. So people don't realize, like, everybody right now is just Tesla had a crazy boom cycle. So everybody's like, it has to come down. So everybody's playing bear. But if you look at the economy, obviously everything's going to go to the shitter. But for EVs, especially Tesla, like it's like hockey growth stick is not just a mythology and like economics and supply demand stuff. It's real. And I think Tesla is one of the companies with other EV companies that jump in that are going to just skyrocket soon. Tesla's just at the forefront. I think this is the bottom, and I think especially with all the legislation of like 2030 banning ICE in like California, Europe, China, Canada, all of these things are going to play into Tesla just going gangbusters again.
Well, what does that mean for companies like NIO? They're going to go to zero, correct?
No, NIO's exposed to the Chinese market. Tesla's got limited exposure there anyway, by comparison, right?
Yeah, but NIO's still going to go gangbusters. NIO is just NIO's not a vertically integrated. They're just like a company that just take pieces and puts them together. It's fine. They'll probably make like low margins compared to Tesla, which is vertically integrated, which will make crazy margins. But they'll still grow crazy just because it's hard, right? Hardware is hard. And Ford and GM and all these companies are trying to do EVs. They're struggling because it's hard to pivot your company into a new technology. And all these new EV companies are going to be poised to just take over. It's just natural. So NIO won't go to zero. NIO is going to probably be number 2 or 3 in China for sure. They probably won't get out of China easily, but China has a huge population that after 2030, when ICE is phased out, they're going to just either be bought out by a big company or just sell crazy cars.
So there's some bullish sentiment, or at least expect sideways movement from Tesla today.
Yeah, but the economy dictates right now, right? So if things break, like more unemployment and stuff, obviously Tesla and every other company will go down. But I'm DCAing for sure. Like I sold at the top because I knew it was gonna be a crazy crash.
What does that mean again?
Oh, dollar
cost averaging. You just buy the same amount of shares on a regular period, so that over time your risk is managed by the fact that as the stock moves up and down, when it's high you buy less, when it's low you buy more, so that offsets the differences.
Well, it doesn't have to be the same amount of shares every time, or the same amount.
It's the same amount of money. Yeah, it's the same amount of money.
I don't think it has to be. It could just be any amount.
Yeah, it's basically you buy more shares at a lower price, and so that lowers your total cost basis.
Yeah,
well, my understanding was
supposed to be the same amount of money. Normally, it's like the same amount of money to dollar cost average,
well,
but it doesn't.
Okay, I think it's called dollar. I'm going to look it up, but I think it's called dollar cost averaging because you pay a fixed amount periodically. So that when it's expensive, you buy less. When it's cheaper, you buy more, but the investment stays the same within those periods. So every month, I say I'm going to buy $100 of GME every month. The cheaper it gets, the more stock I get, right? And that's based on my belief that the company is valuable. There's some inherent value to the company. I don't expect it to go bust. I expect it's going to be around. It's going to be successful. They have a good product. They have a good management team. They have good ownership, whatever. So ultimately, I come out ahead if the company is successful because, anyways, yeah, I think that's why it's called dollar cost averaging. Your dollar amount.
Are we sure we're able to say that about Tesla, though?
No, I disagree. Right, I agree. I don't think Tesla is any of those things. I think Tesla is going to. I'm trying to get the pushback for why people think it might be finding a bottom. I don't think it's going to find a bottom. I hope it doesn't find a bottom. I think the sooner Tesla gets out of the market, the better. I don't personally think electric vehicles should be the government's purview. I don't think the government should step in and say, we got it. California's already saying, hey, look, did you guys hear? I don't know if we talked about this. California said engines made before 2010 in trucks and vans or trucks and buses are not going to be allowed in the state. So that's
Yeah, but that's
Tesla.
California, right? They lead.
That's a silly place to live. There's a
Well, yeah, I know.
mass exodus of people out of there. But so the thing about Tesla is I'm looking at a price target similar to my Facebook call out, right? So when I made those call outs on Facebook, I said once it breaks 120, that's where I had my puts at. I said, or actually on Facebook I had 120 puts.
You're
And
talking
so
about Meta?
yeah, and then it broke all the way down to 88. And then on Tesla, I had these 140s, and I think it's going to go all the way down to maybe 75, 85, somewhere in that range at some point over the next few months.
Wasn't there someone in here I think last week that was saying they had puts, or they were basically shorting, and I don't know the right verbiage, but they were shorting Tesla, expecting it to get sub 100, like just below 100 mid-January.
Oh, that's very aggressive. My puts were dated for June. I had bought them a few months out, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked at how fast Tesla fell. I did not think these would go. I thought I would have a few months of looking at these options doing basically nothing, but shortly after I bought them, man, it fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I think that was more so because remember Tesla was trading alongside the Nasdaq, but Elon's sales of 3.6 billion here, 1.9 billion there, crashed the stock. So that's more so like the crash right now is just Elon, to be honest. High evaluation, but it's mainly driven by Elon.
The high valuation is what's allowing it to move so aggressively downward on Elon's decisions, right?
Because a lot of funds bought Tesla and they just buy and hold. So the major dumping by Elon is what's making the crazy moves downward.
Do we feel like Tesla is getting closer to what its true valuation should be?
I don't know. For me, it's hard to yes and no, because I'd say yes because of the economy right now. But when you look at like growth stocks companies, it's like if people knew iPhones or smartphones are going to be what they are today, Apple at the time when they introduced like its first iPhone, the stock could have easily went to 100 PE. So I think a lot of people are looking at growth stocks and now evaluating it way differently than value stocks, in my opinion. So that's when people throw around, is it value what it is? Is it correctly valued? It's hard to tell because the EV market is new and governments around the world are saying EVs is going to be de facto standard 2030, post 2030. What do you do with that information, right?
I heard that as well, and it seems like that's the trend. So that should be very, very positive news for anyone involved in the mining of rare earth metals, should it not? Some of the operations in Southern American countries and in China, because I'd seen arguments that if all of the developed nations with automobiles, and societies geared towards automobiles as the primary form of transport switch to electric vehicles, there is going to be a severe shortage of those materials. So they're going to become extremely valuable as there's increased competition for them.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's the main point where I'm like, Tesla's one of my EV plays or green energy plays, because they not only just build the cars, they build the battery packs, and they also have the gigafactories, and they actually do mining, and they're vertically integrated. They're the only true green company right now that's vertically integrated in everything with green tech, especially with the war with Ukraine and Russia showing many countries like get off fossil fuels, go into nuclear and green.
I don't want to call it a green company. I think that's a useless term. That's an advertising term.
Well, you know what I mean. Just like they're
electric.
Solar, electric, right?
Do they actually mine?
Yeah. If you look at their S1, they're buying a lot of mining companies, and also partnering with a lot of mining companies, things like that. and they're also and the gigafactories, like they're doing like sourcing straight from mine to batteries of their own, right? Them and Panasonic and things like that. So they're vertically integrated. They're probably gonna supply batteries to EV to like Mercedes, BMW, and these companies in the future. That's how crazy I think Tesla will become.
I've seen a lot of criticism of the Teslas for being extremely cheap and having extremely poor fitment.
I think that's FUD.
Well, let me.
So what's the play here, guys? We've been talking about Tesla for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
come on,
just
like
watched
what's the
this
play? Like I had, I'm talking about my play, but that's retrospective, so that's not very interesting. I shorted Tesla, it went down, I made money. Woohoo, whatever. Do we have current plays on Tesla? Current plays on Tesla.
I got some plays, but not on Tesla.
Okay, well let's hear them because we're just talking about stuff.
All right, like I got like 5 plays. I'm not actually gonna take them, right? I'm just like making projections of like where I think they could go, like of the direction, right? So I can like figure out my win to loss ratio, you know? So like the first one I got, like, and this is all like not really fundamental, it's mostly technical, right? So like the first one I got is DQ, Daco Energy Corporation, right? Yesterday their price was $3.95, right? They went up like 3.4%. Like the trade I would have made is like a call, right? And like on the 2 hours chart, like it's showing like a bull flag, and I was like, you know, like this one's a good call. So like that's like on the trade that I would make for like that for DQ. That's the ticker. Next up, I got SNV Synovus Financial Corp. Right, they closed yesterday at 37.02, and they went down a bit. And I would go for like a put for them. Like I think that they could be a little green at the open, right? Since the downward trajectory yesterday was like pretty big for them. So like they might have hit like their bottom for the session yesterday. So I think there might be a little green in the open, so it might be a nice intraday like option play, like as a put. Next up, I got like CMC, Commercial Metals Company. Yesterday they closed at 47.83, right? But their earnings is coming up on the 9th, I think. The daily chart looked like they broke the neckline on like the head and shoulders pattern, right? And the RSI was kind of crawling to neutral. I was thinking that maybe they might be slowing down for the Fed meeting or like their upcoming earnings. So I was like,
sorry, what was the ticker again on this one? I'm trying to look at the chart.
This one's CMC.
CMC?
Commercial Metals Company. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so like they kind of like slowed down towards like they slowed down on like a downward trajectory, but like I think that they might have like a good play like towards the downside. But like they're getting a little too slow, so I was like they may stay slow all day today because the Fed and because like of their upcoming earnings. Like even post the meeting. So
are you playing these plays, or these are just the ones that you're eyeballing?
No, I'm not playing any of them. I'm just like making projections so that like after like work today, right? I would see how my plays are doing, right? And then see like so I can like have a good idea of what my win to loss ratio should be, you know? But anyhow.
Yeah, sorry, I don't agree with you. If you're not playing that play, like you shouldn't talk about it. That's just my opinion.
All right, well that's cool.
No, I thought that was good.
I think paper trading's a good way to learn. Back in my day, I just lost money. That's how I learned to trade in 2009.
So just
I
an
mean, I
update.
lost a good amount of money, but like, I'm like, I'm going back in. I'm gonna paper trade again, and then like, just get back in like once I'm done paper trading.
And just to explain some of the spikage, it looks like that VVOS Pharmaceutical Therapeutics company got a FDA clearance for a sleep disorder therapy, and it cleared this morning. It looks like that's a part of some of this volume.
What is that? Health science? I mean, health. Is that like a health industry?
Yeah, it's a therapeutic company. Look, their
I don't
average
really
volume's
like. I
like
don't
100K
really like
though, but they're already
healthcare.
in pre-market at
Notes.
5 million.
Notes. You might be 4 for 4 today.
I mean, the FDA clearance that got me hot excited, man. It's already. I mean, it's. I don't know. Let's see. Because with that FDA clearance, it could see similar patterns to Jasper and Kayla.
Anyone got any plays that they're actually playing?
Quick, make some up before we have to bring up journalist.
How did you know my finger was already on the button?
I'd just be talking about the same stuff I've always talked about, and yeah, we don't need repeats.
Are you out of your 8
Bring him
play?
up. Bring up journalist.
No, I'm
We
still
did
in
it.
8.
Hit the nuclear button.
I take that as a personal attack opinion.
Hey, everyone. So one condition, if you agree opinion, so far the talk has been so fucking boring, you know. If I'm allowed to talk.
All right, that was quick.
How to make a boring talk even more boring.
Hey, I've got a play for you guys. So ANF, check out some puts. I mean, it's looking pretty good right now. I'm looking at 217 February puts, $22 strike price.
Nice.
Let's retry. So I kindly would like to request, given that people interrupt my narrative, okay?
Shut the fuck up, dude. There's no conditions, okay? If you
this is the thing.
If you have recommendations on tickers, there's no
thing.
Just state your case and get the fuck out of here, dude.
So disrespectful opinion. So if you agree, please mute them for 120 seconds.
I'm done.
Oh, I think you left.
No, I'm done.
This is America, man. We don't fucking negotiate with terrorists, okay?
You know,
That's
what really, what really gets
he's from one of those death to America countries, ain't he? You know, USA.
what really gets me, I bet
Yeah,
you he
nothing
actually
says
has.
death to America like Spaniards.
I bet you he has some good information if he would just stop spending half his chat about how smart he is and how he totally has good information that he's super going to give us as soon as we just accept how smart he is.
No, you have to understand he's very busy. He's very busy.
He
I
does
love
like
how
these
that's
10-minute intros about how he's so smart. It's like, just tell us. We'll know you're smart once your play is great. Just get into it, dude. Prove it.
Hey, I want to ask a question. I want to see if anyone how does anyone feel about Virgin Galactic?
I lost a bunch of money on that one.
Stay away from that one.
I made a ton of money on that one, but not because of how I thought.
Okay.
You made money on puts, didn't you?
Well, I had bought puts on both Amazon and Virgin Galactic because my logic was there was a 3 in 230 chance that the rocket would blow up based on the history of manned human spaceflight. And I thought that either if those rockets blew up, my out of the money prints would print like crazy. And then neither rocket blew up, but then Branson diluted the shit out of the shares and tanked the stock price anyway. It's great. It's great. Still making money.
What's it up with like
anyway.
eccentric billionaires and ruining the stock of their companies?
Yeah, so Virgin Galactic in 2021 it was up to $54 because they were supposed to do a test flight. The test flight didn't end up going through. So then the thing tanked. Now today it's all the way at $3.40, but they're about to do another test flight in 2023 and most likely gonna get people on board to start space flight if that works.
That's not what happened. The test flight was successful, and then after the successful test, they diluted the shares. They
diluted heavily.
they issued a shit ton of shares, dude, and that's what tanked the stock price. It was actually a successful test of Virgin Galactic's technology.
The successful test was last year, but in 2021 it wasn't successful, was it?
It was.
I think if 2021 was canceled, but
Yeah,
it's
they can't. Yeah, I gotta look back.
long term. I mean, it has
But you're
potential.
right though. Last year it was successful.
But the problem is even though it is successful, there's not that many people who has that kind of money to drop for those flights.
That's true.
And like Skull said, it was diluted to shit. I was one of the dumbasses who bought in at like $20, saw it go to 40, bought a bunch more, and then it tanked hard.
Okay.
Hey, bring back Journal. See what he has to say, because honestly, these plays ain't working out.
Oh, I have an idea to get someone else who would be much more enjoyable to listen to. Speaking of talks that have tanked dramatically, has anyone said anything about Meta yet today?
Bring it up simple.
You have to say it 2 more times. It's 3 times in a row, and then he appears. It's like Beetlejuice.
Meta.
I think Journalist is part of the Spanish royal family, and he expects everybody to kneel down on one knee while he gives out his plays. And again, they may be extraordinary plays.
Weren't they like a quasi-fascist government until 1978? Right?
I mean, remove the quasi, but yeah.
Oh, just straight fascist. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Franco was not quasi about it.
Oh, Journalist left. Sorry, no nuclear button anymore.
I again feel personally.
I guess we finally found the issue that caused journalists to leave. Be talking about Spain's fascist government. He's like, I'm out.
They're talking about Grandpa Franco. I must hide.
Guys,
He's like, I've been had.
What were you saying, man? I said we all know he will be back tomorrow. Talking about he's very important, man. His time is very valuable and busy, and I need you all to shut the fuck up before I talk.
So I'm still buying ape shares because why not be stupid? Anyone want to be stupid with me?
Right there alongside you, buddy.
Yeah, I've accumulated back up to 500, you damn dirty reptile.
It's a real play, just maybe it's going to play out that AMC is just going to go down to ape rather than the meeting in the middle, but in theory...
Are you also one of these retards buying Palantir?
No, I don't like gold companies.
What the hell are you talking about, retards buying Palantir? Come on now.
They don't call them Palantards for nothing.
That offend somebody?
And whoever mentioned
How
VV...
dare you besmirch the name of Peter Thiel and his company Palantir? Why would you dare speak ill of this company? They are going to provide data for the
Well,
powers.
what about VVOS?
VVOS is already at $1.90. So
Yeah, it's up almost 50 cents since whoever mentioned it earlier. So thank you on that one.
that was Notes. Notes is 444.
Yeah, Notes is 444. Nice, dude.
Yeah, I'm up like grand already. Are we selling before open, or we're riding it out?
I think that's a you decision, Chief. But
Yep.
I normally have a percentage number that I take gains
Yeah.
at. You should do the
Yeah, I'm
same for
waiting for it.
yourself.
Oh, damn! As soon as you said that, it hit that number, bro.
Nobody ever went bankrupt realizing gains.
They got the FDA clearance though. That's what I'm playing though. I don't know. I want to see if it. I don't know.
What was the ticker?
VVOS.
But isn't that type of news something that it pops on and then it just levels back off?
Yeah, exactly.
That has
Yeah,
been
it
the downfall of my trading portfolio is greed of not taking profits when I should. Not saying that you should, but I don't know how many times I've seen it raise up. I'm like, no, there's still more meat on this.
7 million volume in pre-market when its average 3-month volume is only 100,000 volume. Like this thing is not just a pumper. I think this is a real FDA waiver.
I promise I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm an idiot on this. I start off saying thanks for the heads up. I've made, I don't know, a few tendies just on the 50 cents where I bought in like $1.40.
You can always at least set like a decent stop loss if you're up a good amount, so you still make some money if it does like completely bottom out of nowhere.
Unlike that damn ape coin that's down like 40 cents since I bought in.
You didn't sell any when you were like up 100%?
Well, yes. I actually bought in a bunch at like 70, 75 cents. I bought some at $1, sold it at $1.60 or so, and then sold all of it and then bought back in and some at $1.40 and some at $1.30, I think.
Now that is dollar cost averaging.
Hey, when it ends at 275, it's gonna seem really smart.
Yeah. Yep, I will buy you a heat lamp, you cold-blooded reptile.
All right, we got 5 minutes left. Anyone want to recap their plays for all the people who just joined?
I have one question. I posted in like the chat. I've been trading PAG Seguro, which is the ticker PAGS, for a few months now. In the past like month on the chart, it's looked like it's like turning bullish, but I'm not really sure. Like, is there a way to, I don't know, to tell, I guess?
Well, what do you mean looking bullish?
Yeah, just like the past like month, it looks like it hit that bottom at like 758 and it's climbing back up. I have calls dated for the 20th of this month, $10 calls. I don't know if it's going to hit it at that point, but it looks like it's turning somewhat bullish.
So there are chart patterns in TA and crayons and all sorts of stuff you can do to analyze that chart, but it would take far more than the time we have here to get into that. I suggest you look that stuff up if you want to decide how a chart looks and like where the numbers lie.
Gotcha. Okay, bet.
What was the ticker again, Salamander?
PAGS.
PAGS.
Yeah. It's very low volume. It like hardly ever moves, but it's the stock that I started on, and I turned like 200 into 2200, which is like a lot of money for me in like 3 days. And since then, I've just been trying to recreate it and lost like 1300.
Now that sounds like a real WallStreetBets story.
Hey, Opinion, if you do decide to allow journalists to talk and nobody else, as American citizens, are we allowed to cross the border and apply for end of life care, or does that only apply to Canadian citizens?
I don't. One of those things is not in my control. And it's bringing up journalists. I have to let him on. Sorry, contractual obligations.
No, I think he should be allowed on, but I'm saying if you put it to where he's the only one allowed up, like you started off the talk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, hey, look, you don't have to tune in. You don't like journalists.
It's a great way to grow your brand, by the way. You don't have to tune in.
I realized right after I said that, I was like, wait a second.
By the way, join the official Discord and subscribe to the YouTube. You don't have to.
He's just tired of running these talks, low key. Trying to end
Ended already. Yeah.
Ever since that Veteran Day, he's like, how could I sabotage this? Oh, this guy's on it.
I was trying to figure out how to say something about veterans.
Understandable. Whenever we're out of content, just veterans. Hit that veteran button. 2 minutes left. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about Solana or what's going on with them? Kind of interesting.
Yeah, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
Well, they pumped like 20% because of this. I don't know where they're at now. Because of this next dog coin bonk. Maybe Scald has more information on that. It's kind of.
So
I thought we were done with all this when interest rates rose, and we were going to be like, "Oh, we're going to get back to normal, sensible investing." Nope.
Well, Solana, unlike FTX or FTT token and UST, which is Terra, which both ended up down 98%, Solana got there organically, falling off of an all-time high of over $200 a coin down to $13. They have had multiple network outages, and their supposedly best part about their blockchain is their timekeeping ability, which allows them to resolve multiple transactions at different rates of time, but still having a timestamp attached to it. Well, that timekeeping ability that was hailed as a huge innovation in crypto in 2016 and 2017 has gone out of sync at least 3 times in the last calendar year, and nobody seems to care. But it was literally the largest single feature of this blockchain, and it's not doing it successfully. So that's my opinion on Solana, but I do have some Solana NFTs, so I can't dog on it too much.
I like how you said they got there organically.
Hey, thank you for bringing me. Sorry, can you hear me?
Markets are open.
Yeah, give me
so check your
2 minutes.
And then we'll
give me 2 minutes.
we'll
Opinion.
We'll
Let the time go.
speak for 2 minutes. Oh,
2 minutes.
Journalist, let me talk so I
Does
can
that
let
2
you
minutes
speak.
include 30 seconds about talking about how great you are?
All right. We'll give journalists the first 2 minutes of the trading session. Everyone go check your trades. Come back when he's done. And journalist, your time starts. Give me a second to pull up my stopwatch here. Now.
Thank you, Opinion. So basically, there is one major news that I think no one paid attention to. It's about China. I think money, well, it's not I think, it's a fact. Now the money is flowing into Chinese and European stocks. By the way, check out Kion. It's up 60% since I shared my due diligence. You're welcome. The Chinese bull case scenario. So basically on the 15th December, you have this historic news in the US. PCAOB, which is the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, secures complete access to inspect, investigate Chinese firms for first time in history. So this was the biggest thing that triggered all, let's say, the bear case for Alibaba and, well, overall Chinese stocks. And now, with this news, and given that the funds, after getting advantage of tax losses last year, will start jumping into the Chinese stocks. In terms of valuation, if you check the free cash flow that the big tech Chinese companies returns, there is absolutely no comparative. The only peers you can compare against are the big tech companies in the US, which are only 4 companies. And still, the Chinese company PE ratio is so fucking cheap, so fucking low, makes absolutely no sense to ignore these stocks. So I'm gonna recommend the ETF, which is very popular, with the following ticker. It's KWEB. This is KWEB. This is basically an ETF that you can buy and replicates the top 10 tech companies, and it's a good proxy to basically get into China right now. You losers, ignorant people.
So are you talking about options or shares, journalist?
Journalist, we talked about that already a week ago regarding the audits of the Chinese firms. That's already been discussed. So nothing that you said is new news. And in fact, we have a thesis that in spite of the audits that were successful, China is about to get ready to celebrate their Lunar New Year at the end of January, beginning of February, which is going to bring a lot of Chinese people who have COVID closer together. And where the thesis is that a lot of people are going to get COVID, there's going to be another shutdown after the Lunar New Year ends, and then only after that are you going to start seeing the valuations increasing in the Chinese company.
I absolutely agree. But then you also need to think like the smart money thinks. The smart money is not thinking what's going to happen tomorrow. What you just said, everyone knows that this is going to happen, right? We know what happens when, at mass scale, you get all these infections, right? Now they are basically getting all these mRNA vaccines because they saw what's the result in the US and in Europe. Everyone is already forecasting the shutdown in the first half of this year of the supply chain. That means that you will still see some inflationary pressure around the world, and that's what already has been released in the recent report of IMF. So the reason why you should buy now is because the smart money, whenever they get into the stock market, is as soon as they see certainty, okay? What is not acceptable is uncertainty. We had uncertainty.
You're contradicting yourself, sir.
No, I'm not.
Also,
Because you are forecasting.
They don't have the mRNA vaccine. What's your source for that?
They are Europe. Europe is going to supply them. This is news from this morning, guys. You fucking ignorant. Just listen to me. So basically,
who's supplying them? What company is supplying them? Because I got calls on Pfizer in the anticipation of that. So
check the news, because this morning there was a emergency meeting in the European Union because of obviously the travel contagious issues that they will suffer from all these Chinese travelers.
It doesn't matter what the European Union does. China has said that they will allow the vaccination using foreign vaccines for expatriates that are working in China. They're not going to, at this point, they haven't agreed to allow Chinese nationals. So if there are Europeans that are working in China, they will be allowed to receive the mRNA vaccines from the West. But right now, they haven't approved the mRNA vaccines from the West for all Chinese people yet.
Hey, you are focusing on a debate that already happened in 2020, man. We know what's going to happen with COVID, okay? We just have to wait 6 months, okay? Everyone is forecasting what you just said, okay? It's not the end of the world. Yeah, they will celebrate their, year end, whatever they're gonna celebrate now. But then, obviously, you have to foresee from now 12 to 18 months. That's why you have seen this Chinese stock rallying and the European stocks as well.
Hey, journalists, if I may, one thing that people do around here, and it's kind of goes without saying, they don't take offense to it, is when somebody comes up with a thesis, other people, they have a conversation back and forth. It's not personal if they have a counter thesis. It's just it's a debate and trying to think of different ideas. So just, again, don't take it personal if somebody has a counter thought.
Oh no, it's not personal.
I'm thinking journalist is actually correct, but what I'm thinking is that he's wrong in that I'm going to be able to buy these stocks and these plays for cheaper when this COVID thing really kicks off in the next 2 months. So I'm looking at the short term So maybe I'm thinking long term, he's probably right, but I'm thinking short term, I can probably get it cheaper than buying it today.
Am I?
I agree.
Am I
You
correct
think-
in understanding that? And I just turned my sound back on that we're expecting that they're going to start this whole COVID circus again.
Yeah, because this is the first time they are allowing their people to basically, be free. Okay, so you will see this COVID shock again in China, but this is exactly what we saw here in the US and in Europe. Okay, it's not the end of the world.
You're just saying strictly China. You're saying strictly mainland China.
Mainland China
restrictions that have been in place since 2019 in a way that they have never removed those restrictions, and so now we're going to expect to see another wave.
Yep. Actually, the wave is already happening. If you see the numbers, it's massive.
The wave is already happening, and in fact, they've announced that Beijing and Guangzhou province are on the downside of their infection rates are decreasing. So they're seeing they're past the hump in terms of the number of infections per day, and because they allowed the people to get infected, so now it's working its way through the population, and Beijing and Guangzhou province are on the decline in terms of daily infections. So they're over the hump.
Well, no shit. Their largest city in Guangzhou is Shenzhen, and Shenzhen had 70% infected with Omicron. Yeah, you can only get the other 30% infected. That's just basic math.
Right. And basically, they followed the U.S. model where it's important to save the economy as well as saving the people, because saving the people and destroying the economy, you might as well just let COVID take them.
All right, I have more bets. I don't know if you want to hear about those or you're just sick of me. I should leave. Opinion, you tell me.
No, let's hear it. I mean, just try and stay respectful is all, and don't talk over others, and I think we'll be all good.
Thank you, Opinion, for giving me the stage. I actually was expecting to have Hardy today because kind of, it's more aligned with my intellectual level, so I can kind of have a decent debate. But anyways, I will talk to the wall. So basically,
what are you talking about, journalist? You son of a bitch, and you just call me stupid?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right.
Journalist talk.
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
Opinion said respectful journalist.
Yeah, true. Sorry. So basically, okay. Hey, by the way, no one has told me that, what happened with Kion. I shared with you, like when it was trading at 20, now it's trading at 32, up 60%. Are you telling me that no one followed my due diligence?
Did you make money on that? How much did you make?
Plus 60% on the stock, which is a long-term play. And on the option side, I am up 100%.
Yeah, but
Wasn't that the one?
Did you YOLO it? Or did you put $5?
Did we have a ticker symbol on that for the U.S.? Because wasn't that the one where we weren't finding a ticker symbol for it in the U.S. and people that would trade in the U.S. they don't automatically have access to the European markets. Was that the one?
Yeah, no, but there was a US ticker. Someone shared it already in the post that I shared with the due diligence, which was deleted because Opinion decided to ban me soon after sharing the due diligence. Anyways, nothing personal opinion. I love you.
Nobody decided to ban you. The only one that decides to ban you is you yourself, right? There are rules in this community, and when you willingly break those rules, no one else but you is banning you. Just FYI, keep that in mind, okay?
I'm gonna continue with the bet sharing. So basically, I'm expecting. Okay, on one side, I'm putting all my money into the European stocks, where you see historically low PE ratios. Okay, and Chinese stocks. On the other side, I'm also expecting some black swan event. Okay, especially in the UK market. So you see that in the UK we have the strikes, a wave of strikes. Every single sector, industry is on a strike right now. That's because of the inflationary pressure, right? Inflation today, I think food inflation was up 13% unexpected. So I'm expecting the Bank of England to keep increasing interest rates. Okay, so what's wrong with that? If you check the news on, I think it was third week of October. November or October. I don't recall. Anyways, basically we were about to have a kind of Lehman Brothers event in the UK. Okay, related with the pension scheme. So basically, no one expected that an increase in the bond yield of, I think it was at 4.6%, was about to collapse the so highly leveraged, pension scheme industry in the UK. And I think that's gonna happen because no one has solved that shit. And if inflation continues, there is no other solution other than keep increasing interest rates. Okay, it's gonna be a fucking blow up. So there is still probabilities of that event happening. So I keep shorting the FTSE 100. I already shared the ticker, which is Z. And with it, with this bet, I'm sorry, opinion. I'm so fucking busy now. I'm receiving some calls. I have to go back to a meeting. So everyone, good luck with your tradings. I'm very busy. I'm sorry to be employed, not like you useless people. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Joe.
I'm so brokenhearted.
Thank
that
you.
he's
Yeah.
gone.
I appreciate
Morning,
your
John.
professionalism.
I
enjoy
the
the
daily
daily insults from journalists.
Why does he say sorry when he leaves?
Yeah, that's right. He needs to clean that up. He does. Somebody message him. Let him know he needs to say, finally, I can get out of here.
Hey, you guys mind if I chime in real quick? This was like probably about 10 after 9. Somebody was talking about internal combustion engines being banned. It's not the internal combustion engine. It's the gas-powered internal combustion engine. It's going to be banned in 2035 in California. So just a little clarification there.
What are you saying?
Are they going to have exceptions
diesel
for classic cars? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, they're banning the production and sale of new gas-powered internal combustion engines. There's other forms of internal combustion fuel that are in development right now. I did some DD a while back. Porsche bought this company down in Chile. They are making a synthetic fuel, so it's probably they're trying to save the internal combustion engine. The production numbers are out. They're only going to make about 14,000 gallons this year, and then production is going to increase and substantially over the next couple years. But there's definitely something to look out for because electric vehicles are not the future.
So the play is wind and solar to make this fuel.
You can look. You can find just check Porsche e-fuel, put it in Google, and it'll actually explain the process of how they produce the fuel.
They
It's
use
actually
wind power.
pretty
They use
interesting.
wind power, yeah. And
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
so
very
they play
interesting.
solar and wind to explode to make all this fuel.
I have no idea. I'm just saying.
I don't know if they use a whole lot of solar due to the fact that I think where they're at, there's not a lot of sun, but there's a ton of wind.
Chile's actually gigantic for solar too, but that's probably why they're there.
I believe that the plant that Porsche invested in was already there and they were doing it, but Porsche's like, oh, we're going to amp this up because I don't see an all electric 911. I mean, they might happen, but I work at a Porsche dealer. I service these cars. There are a lot of cars that come in that are 20, 30, 40 years old, and people spend money to keep them running. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that play predicated on what the populations are going to allow their governments to get away with as far as what vehicles are going to be allowed to operate? I mean, personally, I'm going to push back in every way I can on any restriction against the kind of vehicle I can own and operate. Like the idea that I wouldn't be able to own a gasoline powered internal combustion engine is ridiculous. I mean, I would think the rest of the United States isn't going to allow the chicanery that's taking place in California to spread. And Medvedev, some spokesperson for Russia or something, he'd made some kind of bold prediction about California and Texas seceding from the union. I mean, at least let California secede, right? But I wouldn't expect
California is the U.S. If they cut off production, they're just not going to sell them to the people out in the sticks.
Yeah. But don't forget too, it's gas powered. It's not, let's say, hydrogen powered. It's not an alternative fuel source. It's just gasoline powered internal combustion engine vehicles.
Yeah,
So,
I get that. I get that. I mean, I'm saying, but the restrictions of any kind, like, because it's not just that they're banning the production of gasoline-powered internal combustion engines. They're also, I mean, they've also just said in 2000. Well, I think I don't know what year they're implementing this, but they're gonna make it so that if you have a truck or a bus that has an engine that was manufactured before 2010, it's not allowed to operate in the state, unless I misunderstood the article.
no, you're correct. I did read that, and that was my understanding of the same thing. So
that's preposterous, though. That's, I mean, that's, think about all of the small business fleet operators, you know, and all the over-the-road truckers who are now being banned from participating in California transportation, and they on the seaboard, right? So they have a massive section of the coast that they provide access to. I mean, this seems like a really bullish thing for California to do.
I totally agree. California is probably one of the most beautiful places in the world, but it's run by the dumbest people alive. So, but yeah, I mean, just a heads up, somebody said before, gasoline powered internal combustion engines, not the internal combustion engine.
Why are we calling them dumb?
I mean, they're having regulations like this.
Are we calling them dumb because of the homelessness? Are we calling them dumb because of the affirmative action? Are we calling them dumb because
what's the play, guys? Come on.
Collective dumb.
I mean, the play is California. Right? What tech companies are in California? Bullish on tech companies when they finally secede from the union, and I don't fucking know what the play is.
That doesn't sound like a play, my guy.
One of the plays would be is to figure out how they're going to power all these electric vehicles, because even right now they have rolling blackouts constantly. So what are they going to do to supplement the power that's going to be needed? Like right now, you can't even buy a leaf blower anymore. You have to use a battery operated lawnmower.
Yeah, you can buy an electric vehicle, an electric leaf blower, electric lawnmower, but you can't charge it. So good luck with that.
So that's bull. Yeah, right, right. So nuclear power is what is the primary power sources? And look, please don't jump down my fucking throat because I'm trying to.
No, they shut down 2 of the nuclear plants, if I remember correctly.
California only has one current operating nuclear reactor. It's Diablo Canyon. It's got a 20-year extension, but that's all they have left. It is not a nuclear-powered state.
So, I mean, most people that have an EV have solar, and the solar's super cheap, so they charge it on the solar.
I didn't think solar is like that efficient. Though.
Texas was giving away free nights and weekends because they had so much wind, and people were charging their EVs on nights and weekends. But the solar and wind we had over the last 10 years is low efficient, low capacity factor, expensive solar and wind. The prices have come down 80% in the last 6-7 years. The next wave of renewables is going to be super cheap, super high efficient, and it's the only thing being added to the grids. If it's cheaper than coal, it's cheaper than gas.
That is until Texas has an ice storm and then everything freezes, and then
it was all gas. It was all gas that froze. It was gas that froze.
Hold on.
It was all gas that froze.
Here's the thing.
I will post an article. It was mostly gas and oil.
Oh no, I believe you. I wasn't educated about it, but I know that whenever they were having all the freezing issues, but
they hate windmills. So the Republicans in Texas came out and said windmills caused the problem. The press ran with it. Everybody believed it. But the Texas grid operator came out and said, look, here's what happened. A quarter of our nuclear went out. It was mostly gas lines frozen, and gas and the grid in Texas is supposed to be built to operate when the wind's not blowing. I mean, who builds a grid and adds wind and doesn't plan for the wind not to blow one day? The problem was the Texas grid didn't expect the freeze.
Okay.
So, no. Hey, I totally agree with you. That's fine, man. I'm not like bashing you or anything. Like I said, I was just ignorant about it. So.
No, it's.
Are you saying actual gas lines, like fuel? Like
they had problems with their plants. They had problems with gas distribution system. I don't know if it was in the line or the pumps that pump the gas.
the pipes that moved the gas, it got too cold, and the gases started to solidify, slowing down the movement and essentially locking up the movement. There are articles that have dealt with this. The gas transfer, because it got so cold and the pipes were not designed for potential freezing, really limited energy movement and the ability for them to move the gas pipes around.
It was unseasonably cold weather in Texas, where it's usually hot. I mean, there's windmills and gas and coal up north in Canada that runs when it gets cold, but down in Texas they weren't ready for it. And of course, there's a lot of bashing on what caused it and a lot of politicizing what caused it. But if you read the grid operator, their reports, it's pretty clear what happened.
It was Greg Abbott. God damn it.
And honestly, even if, let's say like it's true, it was all wind and solar's fault, it's really not relevant what caused it. What's relevant is, are places going to continue building wind and solar? And the answer is nations are all saying yes, right? If you're looking at an investment, what matters is it getting built and is it increasing? The answer seems to be, yeah, everyone says they're going to build it.
Yeah, and then the flip side is, then where do you place your bet? So you can place your bet on like the refining side. What does it take to build them? You can place your bet on the manufacturing side. Can you get margins up enough to where you can actually produce and produce profitably, or do you place your bet on the essentially the money managers who will buy the solar fields and then lease them out to the companies, the companies that will then take buy the power it generates. And that's where I've placed my bet. I've placed my bet on the operators who will buy these solar fields after they're manufactured and say, okay, if I can generate X amount of megawatts at X amount of percent and add in a certain level of guaranteed increases and then give a dividend, that's where I've placed my bet.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth all over utilities, but that's where the growth is going to be. It's really going to be there.
Sorry, what? So you placed your bet, but what stock?
Two, AY, ticker AY and ticker GDS. No, sorry. Oh God, wrong one. BEPC. Sorry. I have GDS up on my charts right now. No, BEPC, and BEPC is Brookfield Management. They're a huge conglomerate. But oh God, I can't. Y'all are fucking me up.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I gotta open up my second account.
You said AY and BEPC.
It's Brookfield.
Yeah, and
they're also
has a couple different funds that they.
You do know that they are a majority stakeholder in nuclear too, right? In one of the.
I placed my bet in them just because I think they are a forward-thinking. They're buying assets that generate clean power, and then they lease it back out, which I think is a fucking great business to be in. And they had a huge run up during COVID, and they've tanked. And I've been dollar cost averaging as they've been dropping because I truly believe this is a 50-year hold for me.
Can you post those stickers?
Yeah, I'll just give it to you one. One is A as in Apple, Y as in Yang. I don't know the phonetic alphabet for those.
Yeah, I don't
the
think
other
he
one
has
is
anything to write with. He's hoping you'll just be able to type them.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll put it in comments. AY, they're both just operators essentially. Green power. They're in the green energy space.
Did anybody get it in that VVOS on the FDA clearance?
Dude, it's been halted the entire morning.
I'm up by 30% notes.
It goes active and then goes freaking whatchamacallit. It halts it's incredibly dangerous to try to play games with companies that get halted.
I definitely think I'm going to add those two tickers to my dividend portfolio. It looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, and
I'll definitely do more research.
BEPC has been beat down tremendously because I don't know what got behind their rush toward, like, I think they got up almost as high as like $60 at one point, or even maybe more than that. So my cost average is in like the 40s, and I'm just continuing the DCA, and it's in my HSA portfolio and my Roth portfolio. So I literally just reinvest the dividends again to try to bring my cost average down. But they're great operators. BEPC is a huge conglomerate. Like, I guess they could still screw up, but according to what I've seen and what my research, they're very good money managers, very good capital allocators, I guess, which is what you want in that space.
For synthetic fuels, just to go back on that a bit, the main sector of interest is not going to be cars. It's going to be airplanes. the only way to, especially for European pressure in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, the only way aircrafts are going to get, to meet those standards is through SAF, synthetic aviation fuels. So that's much more of a, because they're not profitable and they're not scalable, those products.
Yeah,
So that's where the pressure is going to be coming from.
I think Europe has already banned some short hop flights that they might allow with electric or synthetic fuel.
Yeah. So internal to countries, and we are nowhere near commercial scale electric aviation. We just aren't. That's 15. That's 15 years for very short, like island hoppers. I would say 10. Let's say 10 years for island hoppers. We are 20, 25 years out for, 70 passenger, 100 passenger planes.
All I'm saying is I'm pretty bearish on the whole EV thing. Like maybe for commercial vehicles, delivery vehicles, yeah, but if the masses for the public, the infrastructure is not here. Like you said, there's rolling blackouts in California. If you have 100 people in an apartment building and everybody has an electric car and they all plug in at the same time, it's not going to be good.
So the only thing I could say to that is that was power that was being, if peak oil has happened, I would argue.
Ooh, interesting thesis.
And I like what.
I wanted to get some clarification from people smarter than myself. What is a fossil fuel? Is oil derived from the bones of dinosaurs, or was my geography feature wrong?
The vast majority of oil is actually algae. Fun little factoid for you, but I don't know if that affects anything.
Yeah,
oil is the dirtiest form of solar energy you can find. It's all solar, boys.
All
solar.
Yeah, and on the news when they had the storm in Buffalo, a lot of people couldn't charge their Teslas. There was no power, and then I seen on the news they said the battery don't last that long in cold temperatures.
So I'm gonna say this, and I mean nothing rude as I say this. So it's gonna probably come across rude. The reality is, your opinion on like wind, solar, EVs, and stuff, like our personal opinions, I'll include myself in this, is really irrelevant from an investment point, right? What matters is what actual nations are going to do, what actual companies are going to do. That's where money is made. If I think EVs are stupid, if I think global warming's fake, it doesn't mean anything if all of Europe says, yeah, but it's real, so we're going to invest accordingly, right? So just always make sure, even if you feel a certain way, make sure that your investments match with the majority opinion, because that's where the money is going to flow, right?
Well, solar specifically is still pretty early. I mean, the efficiency ratios are still coming up. I mean, new materials are being developed. I mean, I don't know, probably every 6 months. I mean, you have pretty relative breakthroughs. So it's still really new in the alternative energy space. I mean,
I agree on that. I think there's a lot of room, definitely. And if there's new minerals or new different elements, whatever they could use, then it'll definitely go up.
I think what's the efficiency ratio right now? Like in the mid-60s for solar?
Electric has one advantage over any kind of alternative fossil fuel. And the advantage that electricity has is you can transmit it through the air.
Or a wire. Yeah, electrons are easier to move than molecules.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Oh no!
In fact, Tesla. This is over 100 years ago. Not Tesla, the car company, but Nikola Tesla. He was working on a tower, a technology to charge the ionosphere. And by charging the ionosphere, you could basically have free, unlimited energy,
free electricity
for the entire planet. And then Westinghouse pulled the funding because Westinghouse was trying to sell copper wire. So there's actually this technology to be able to power all these electric vehicles and everything without batteries was already invented 100 years ago. The problem is that in order for that to happen, that kind of power can also destroy entire countries at the click of a button. Like you can zap Russia from here.
Are you saying that we're going to power the world with Nikola's death ray?
Well, it depends on how you use it. You could, but he didn't want to at that time he didn't want to release all the information that he was working on for it because it can also destroy things very easily. Like you could wipe out an entire army very easily. So there's technology like electrons give you the ability of powering cars. Like if you incorporate or if you integrate high voltage power lines into the highway system in the United States, you actually don't really need large batteries in cars. You could power the cars as they're driving down the road, electric roads. So there's like some things that I think governments and the powers to be need to consider in, if they're serious about having an electric future, then you need to have electric roads, not batteries at all. Because there's not enough. I mean,
I agree with. So maybe
Isn't
I'm
that
just
what an
not
electric
being
train
super
is?
clear. Pretty much.
Yes.
So to get back, I saw the article about the car that froze. Somebody rented a car. They couldn't drive it because it was cold. But at the same time, there's a headline out today, 80% of the cars sold in Norway are plug-in electric cars. And I think it gets pretty cold in Norway. But what article gets all the traction in the headlines?
That is true.
What makes sense? I think if 80% of people in Norway are buying electric cars, they must run in the cold.
I believe that Norway also uses geothermal for energy production. I know the Scandinavian countries, they're doing some geothermal stuff. So
that's
I guess
Iceland.
pretty much Iceland. Okay, so what I'm saying is I do agree with a lot of what people are saying. Electric, I get the idea of it. The infrastructure's not here right now. It needs definitely something. It needs built up, and we need more power to get the power to these cars. Fossil fuels, I totally agree. Something needs to change there. We've seen all the data, greenhouse gases, and fossil fuels are a finite resource. Totally get that too. I guess what I'm saying is, what are we gonna use to power, like to generate this energy? Solar, wind, nuclear, fusion. I mean, something needs to change.
We know.
And what's that going to be?
It's already changed. I mean, we can already see that like 90% of the power we're adding to the grids today is solar and wind. And it's backed up with like pump hydro and HVDC lines to distribute it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all solar and wind, and it's still getting cheaper. And in fact, the biggest ever revision from the IEA just came out, and they predicted 70% more solar and wind to be added to the grid. In fact, that's the same amount that India uses totally, and they predicted that much more over the next few years. So they keep revising every year after year. They keep revising how much solar and wind we're going to be adding. They keep revising it up over their previous prediction.
Where are the solar panels and windmills coming from? Who's going to make them?
They're already being made.
Where?
Well,
China? And that's the play too. Yeah, exactly. Why aren't they being made here?
Well, they are now with the IRA Act. They're requiring that they're manufactured here to get some of these subsidies. So there's a lot of plants opening up here, but they're going to be opening up anywhere. But actually, that's an excellent point, because China is in the lead right now, mostly because they install most of it themselves. But with it now being the cheapest and the future, there's going to be a race to see who wins exports. And it's not looking good, because China will be able to sell to South America, to Africa, to the rest of the world, while America's playing catch up, trying to build a factory over here with their new subsidy.
Yeah, so U.S. is going to be left in the dust, essentially.
Maybe. I mean, we could certainly catch up if we want it, but China's way ahead. I mean, they're producing giant wind turbines that if you increase the radius of the wind turbine, the amount of power it gets, it goes up like 8 times.
But don't you need more wind to move it?
Well, it's up higher, so it reaches winds that are more constant, and because the blade is bigger, it turns more. So the bigger the wind turbine, the more energy it produces. In fact, these new wind farms are getting capacity factors that are higher than China's thermal coal fleet, like 65, 70% capacity factors are coming out of them.
All right. I mean, hey, so I'm not anti alternative fuel at all. I have a daughter. She's 2 years old. I want her to live here happy and healthy. And then her kids are, if she wants to have whatever. I just want future generations to be able to live here, like be healthy, clean, you know? And yeah, I know it's a dream, but
hey, Greta, how are you?
Oh no, I mean,
I think he's got a point that he's going to make.
Oh no, he's back.
That he wants the. What? Hey.
No, it's not a great, like, dude. I work on cars. I love the internal combustion engine, like gas powered. You can get a lot of power. Like, I live around this stuff, and EV cars don't do it for me. Yeah, they're fast, but it's just not the same as 700 horsepower coming out of a gas engine and 700 horsepower, quote unquote, out of an electric car. I love the gas engine. I love racing. I love all this stuff. But I mean, on the masses, how can things be better?
Wait,
That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. I don't have a Hellcat. I got a 2015 Audi SQ5, supercharged 3-liter V6. Did a little bit of work to it.
You guys,
So
especially gas prices, like spending money on gas when we can spend way less on electric, it does make more sense,
However,
if everyone get an electric car, you'll see how expensive electricity gets.
Very expensive, very fast.
Well,
And
hey,
if everybody,
there's an article
Go
out
ahead.
showing that places with electric cars, and you guys should read it. It's interesting, or actually lowering the cost of power because of the way they charge. They charge at night when generators would otherwise be wasting fuel. So they're actually lowering the cost of power in regions and at the same time increasing the revenue that the utilities are getting. And I'll find that and share it if you guys want to read it, but it's very interesting. And it's very, a lot of this stuff is counterintuitive to the notions that are out there. So
I would love to read that article.
I will post
Yeah,
it right here. Let me find.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it.
When it comes to my concern, if you have an electric car, how much does it take to fix an electric car versus if you're just a civilian, and you fix a gas car?
A lot cheaper. You don't have to do oil changes. You don't have to change the transmission. There's no transmission fluid. You don't have to do oil changes. There's no coolant.
That's the maintenance. We're talking about, like, you
Okay.
bump into someone's car going 5 miles an hour. Gas power, you like change the bumper. And then on an electric car, if you did something where you might have potentially damaged the battery, there's $10,000-$15,000 right there.
Yeah.
So I had to change a high voltage charger on a 2021 Cayenne. The high voltage charger is just a control unit inside the car, a little bit of coolant runs through it. That was $3,500, and it was just a big box control unit. Like, has a bunch of high voltage connectors going to it, but it was inside the car. Connectors go to it, coolant runs through it. It was $3,500. So
well, on a Porsche, you walk out with an oil change, you're paying $3,500. I mean, they charge you
$500. So
I mean, they charge you $500 for an oil change. But I think in terms of cost of ownership on electric vehicles, total cost of ownership on electric vehicles, as far as maintenance and stuff like that, is much lower.
Yeah, on that note, I mean, they're new, so like if you've got to replace a battery, they're expensive. But I just saw a third-party battery company came out with like a super cheap, efficient battery that makes your old Nissan Leaf, it increases the range, reduces the weight, and the new battery is cheaper than the new one. And EV enthusiasts are looking around and they're finding these $5,000 used Leafs, and they're looking at buying them up and buying some of these batteries and pairing them up.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you can do with these electric cars is they're almost like, like people used to build their own PC, and like they're very modular. And if you get to the point where you can swap out modules like that, where you can configure it yourself, they could become relatively cheap. And it's still in the early stages. So like aftermarket companies that sell upgrades or side grades to some of these modules, there's huge opportunities for basically being able to put one together yourself.
So there was a startup in Michigan, and One Inc. So they got 752 miles with a prototype battery in a Tesla Model S. They took Tesla's battery out, they put theirs in, and it was cold out. It was in the 30s and 752 miles on a single charge. So definitely keep it. Oh, our next energy. My apologies. And they were on TD Ameritrade as like a pink sheet. So definitely keep an eye out for some startups with these batteries. So if they are going all electric, it's maybe these guys in a garage tinker with this stuff, like you guys were saying about building your own computers. I mean, keep a lookout for battery startups for sure, because that might be the one plus side. If you can get more range out of a battery, then I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. So
I wanted to bring up a battery company, if that's all right. They're down $5.50 since after hours yesterday. I was wondering if anyone knows.
Hold on. How much is that in percentage?
The ticker is ENVX, Enovix. It's down $5.52 from.
No, I'm asking percentage, not dollars. Dollar says nothing. Like in percentage, man. Come on, quick.
Percentage. He means percentage. $5 is what percentage? Is it
41.30%.
Okay, that's more useful than saying $5.
But
continue, please.
Ticker is ENVX, Enovix.
What's the bear case or the bull case? Please continue.
I couldn't find any information yesterday after hours. I just saw it tanking, absolutely tanking, and no one reported till this morning about a meeting their new CEO posted. They are having production delays, and that has absolutely tanked their stock.
Yeah, any bad news right now is going to tear up a stock, right?
Not all stocks, because this already happened in the software industry. Now software seems to be more resilient to bad news because it's already priced in. I think now it's the turn of EVs, kind of industries. For example, you see in Tesla, okay, slightly, miss in deliveries. It's like, the stock market, or at least the Tesla stock crashing. And as this friend of ours was sharing about this battery company, it's a similar case.
And since we're on this topic, how does anyone feel about Lucid? It's really cheap for the stock. I just was curious.
Lucid? Oh, come on.
It'll
How
keep
can you
getting
value
cheaper.
Lucid?
It'll just keep getting cheaper.
Hold on. Yeah, come on, hold on. Lucid. I'm an expert in Lucid. Okay, I made a massive amount of money, okay, in Lucid. So tell me, why do you think this stock is cheap? Have you seen the valuation? Can you compare?
No, what I was saying is I'm speaking as if I don't know nothing about the stock. I just seen the price. I just seen it, so I'm asking.
Okay, maybe you are confused. This is not a talk for newbies to learn from scratch whatever you want to learn, okay? Do some due diligence and come back to opinion and ask for permission to talk.
So you think it's a bad stock long term? That's what you're saying then?
Very bad, very bad.
Okay,
Next.
That's the question.
As far as some of the DD on Lucid, so their earnings, like they lost almost $2 billion. They're compared to some of the other opportunities you have as far as investments like STLA or even GM or Ford. There's better and Volkswagen. There's better opportunities for investing in EVs than Lucid, just because they haven't crossed all their T's and dotted their I's yet as far as output and production and stuff like that. Although they do have nice cars.
So if we could get Mast up here, because he is the biggest lucid bull there is. Mast, where? Oh, I bet he's off at a different talk.
Lucid is it's a luxury brand, and they've come in at a horrible time, and they are new. It's just there's so much against them. There's just so much against them, and they just don't have the runway. They're going to keep getting cheaper.
Yeah, this is what we learned from Elon Musk, and the reason he was successful is because he basically find or was able to face the biggest challenge in the EV industry is scalability. So you can see like hundreds of companies trying to put the prototype, which is very easy to build, like Lucid, Rivian, all these companies, okay? It's very easy to showcase 1, 2, 3, or 10 vehicles and say, hey, we are worth like 60 billion because we are the next Tesla. The biggest issue, and Elon Musk highlighted this several times, is scalability. When it comes to producing EVs at a scale level, it's absolutely impossible for the average people, CEOs to basically, make it happen. The only person who made it happen so far has been Elon Musk.
Well, Volkswagen also.
Volkswagen has done it, but very recently. And I wouldn't say they have already achieved it because they are kind of transitioning, okay? And
well, they have don't they have at least one plant that's fully electric? They have the E-Up, they have the ID3, which is a European only, yes. But I mean, look, their biggest weakness is Tesla's biggest strength, which is software. I think we can agree on that. However, on the flip side, Tesla's biggest weakness is actually still their manufacturing quality, where that's not a problem for Volkswagen at all. They have all of the procedures, they have all the processes, they have the machinery, they have the experience for that. So yes, software is their biggest weakness, which maybe based on my experience is actually probably the easiest thing to fix. Is buying better software engineers. You could get them to come over fairly easily if you just pay them right. Getting manufacturing to change is a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
don't forget that Volkswagen owns a lot of other companies. I mean, not owns,
Oh
but
yeah,
Audi,
immensely.
Porsche, Lamborghini, Renault, like. Or
Yeah,
maybe
so
not
they're able
Renault,
to
I don't know.
experiment. They're able to
Yeah,
experiment in
a
all
lot.
these different things.
Yeah, and
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
Yeah, I agree with you, and kind of I think it was last week, if I'm not wrong, I was sharing Volkswagen as one of my bet. I think it's very cheap right now to buy Volkswagen. Because if you compare relative to the free cash flow that they expect to return in the next, let's say next year, next 2 to 3 years, is one of the cheapest stock right now with the highest quality of a product. As you are saying, Volkswagen has excellent quality of in manufacturing vehicles, and the brand is it's not only Volkswagen brand, they own like a bunch of other very successful brands.
12 different entities, yeah.
And also the next biggest competitor in Europe, at least with Tesla, is going to be Volkswagen, because actually I think
Volkswagen sells more. Volkswagen sells more in Europe than Tesla.
Yeah, but I mean in terms of EVs, when I say EVs, I'm including batteries. And Volkswagen has this project in Europe where they want to build the next gigafactory. So the first was Tesla, okay? And the next one, obviously in Europe, we support like through public funding our local companies. This is not very fair competition, but this is what it is. And Volkswagen has like massive amount of billions already approved by the European Union, and it's going to be very easy for them to catch up with Tesla in terms of gigafactory. So I bet on Volkswagen and short Tesla, please. Right now, short Tesla, long Volkswagen.
I think
have a
actually it wasn't. Sorry, just one more thing about Tesla. I don't think the reason there's a major sell off of Tesla is because of the expectations not met in terms of production. I think it's people seeing Elon Musk selling more and more, and they are wanting to get out before they get nothing for their value.
And you know what actually Elon Musk said last month?
So a lot of it is media driven too, and it's not production that they missed. They missed on deliveries. They were supposed to deliver 418,000 cars. They delivered 405,000 cars in the latest quarter, which is a 3% variance. However, at the same time, there was another release that came out that said that their production for last year was 1.3 million units, which was a 40% increase over the previous year. Now, the media that hates Elon conveniently chose to focus on the 3% miss versus the 40% increase in output, because it could have been a totally different story if the media had done their job right. But journalism
I have to correct you here.
Just like with Wall Street Bets, journalism is failing us, and journalism is failing America. The journalists should be reporting the news honestly, and they're not.
I'm not failing anyone here. Listen to me. I'm kidding. So basically, the sell-off of Tesla has nothing to do with the 3%, whatever. Is about what the other guys just said. It's because he's selling massive amount of shares, and he himself last month, there is a conference recorded. You can check that on YouTube. He was asked what does he think about valuation of Tesla right now. He was saying, he would not recommend to his friends to buy Tesla, and it was trading above $200 back then. It was a couple of months ago or 3 months ago, prior to buying Twitter. So he himself believes that at $200, Tesla is overvalued, and he hasn't kind of lied to anyone. So everyone sees that okay, there might be an massive overvaluation case here. That's why the sell-off.
Yeah, he's been on record for saying that stock price seems really high, going way back. At the same time, he says this company's going to grow hugely. So, but hey, seriously though, how can you talk about EVs and talk about Tesla and Volkswagen, but not mention BYD?
I agree.
Very good point.
Hey, so I got a question.
It's just harder to invest in them. It's harder to trust to invest in them. That's the problem.
But I mean, they are a world competitor, so they'll affect the markets you can invest in.
Yes, but they're also a Chinese stock, and there's a lot of trust issues when it comes to Chinese stocks.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to invest in them, but they will compete with Tesla in Europe, and they will compete with Tesla in South America and Australia and other companies. I mean, they will have an effect on the global market.
They will, but actually one place they won't is India. They will not get into India. India will.
China hates India? India hates
other way around. Yeah, they're There's a lot of animosity.
They both hate each other.
Hey,
Isn't there Tata Motors in India?
Yeah, my concern with BYD, and when it comes to global expansion of Chinese companies, I try to bet on in a scenario where I foresee Southeast Asia market being taken over by, let's say, Alibaba, Tencent type of companies. Okay, I never compute Europe market nor the US for one reason. We have seen how the US came up all of a sudden with a made up story of the 5G. You remember Huawei was the first company to achieve the 5G, and the sooner they did that, obviously that's a massive advantage in technology, okay, around the world. So it got banned in Europe and in the US. The same will happen as soon as they get into other fields, like let's say EVs or whatever. I don't see Chinese company being acceptable by the racist people of the US and Europe. Okay, don't get offended, please. It's just a reality.
It's not the whole issue with China has nothing to do with their skin color. It has everything to do with their government's ideology.
Exactly, a nation.
Also true.
Different nations want power. And I got a question about Elon, right? Do you guys feel like with Elon getting Twitter, him keep pushing the powers that be, that his stock in long term could grow, but they definitely do want something to replace it and knock them down.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
Yeah, what's the question?
So the question is, do you guys feel like Elon buying Twitter and showing more of his personality that and like pushing the powers that be is, do you think that they're gonna there's gonna maybe be an electric company that's coming out or that's already out that they will force to like basically take his position? I'm just saying, Tesla's position.
You know, if he shuts his mouth, that will fade away. But if he keeps going,
Exactly.
But his company is strong, so people. I just saw an article the other day. People in Taiwan are buying up all the Tesla stock right now because they don't give a shit about it.
Okay.
And China will buy it. The Saudis, who are super rich, will buy his stock. The Russians will buy his stock if it's making money. So
I mean, it depends on who the powers that be are. I mean, from a realistic standpoint, what has Elon done with Twitter, right? He exposed the fact that social media and other media outlets like CNN and some of the other ones are being influenced by various organizations within the federal government. So, and that's the kind of stuff that you would expect to come out of Russia and China, not the United States. So those people who want to see the United States maintain their leadership in global democracy, they don't want that you don't want government involvement like that in your media, right?
Yeah.
So it all depends on who the powers that be are. Because honestly, I'm like Elon is probably a bigger patriot in the United States right now than anyone else because he's exposing stuff that's going on that Americans were not aware of. Now, some of the media.
What is he exposing though? You know, he's not. There's got to be a different bent in his motivation than the fact that he's some kind of patriot. It's not. He's not doing it because he's patriotic. I wonder what the end game is.
I don't trust the rich people that want to buy media. They've been buying newspapers and media and social media.
Yeah.
He may use this Tesla. He may control these people and have them buying the shit out of his cars. We don't see his algorithms.
Look, here's the point. Here's the evidence. Right?
He might make a deal with China.
Yeah, that's right. But look at. He's not releasing all of the information, right? He's doing a very slow, controlled burn. Here's some more information. Here's some more information. The amount of information that any tech company like Twitter, with the market capitalization that it enjoys, is in possession of such a vast amount of information that if leaked to public, if leaked to journalists, leaked to the media, would be mind-blowing. He's not altruistically going into Twitter's files and saying, hey, we're going to blow the top off this, let everybody know what's happening. He is very selectively releasing information with specific times and dates. He's making a whole show out of it, trying to generate interest in his platform. It's not altruism.
But
it
what I'm trying to say,
patriotism.
I see what you're trying to say, and I understand. But all I'm trying to say is Elon is getting bigger than his brands, kind of. Like his ego's taking over.
He's not bigger than SpaceX. That's the only thing profitable right now in his ownership.
But within notoriety and within people's mouth, he is bigger than SpaceX.
And one of the reasons that Elon or Tesla, or I'm sorry, Elon and Twitter is not releasing everything is he doesn't really fully know everything, because it was 3 weeks after he bought it that they realized that one of the lead guys who was releasing the information was redacting a bunch of the files with an FBI attorney. No, it's not a fanboy. I don't have Tesla, but I will say this. He states that everybody should have a right to speak. Everybody should.
You're sure. I agree with you. And that's not, we're not arguing about that. What we're arguing about is the fact that Elon Musk's motivations for the information that he has released do not lie in any kind of altruistic betterment of the public. It lies wholly in likely, based on what we've seen, driving interest in Twitter.
That is totally
if you will take Elon at his word, he said this several months ago that, and again, I'll have to paraphrase because I will butcher it, but it was
Elon. Did you say?
No, I'm saying if you take him for what he said, one of the reasons why he bought Twitter and he was willing to lose the complete $44 billion was that the left ended up turning his kid trans and turn it against him, and he said he would be willing to lose it all to protect free speech. That's what I'm saying. So if you take him at his word, that was one of his reasons for doing it.
You sound like a fanboy, man. You sound like a fanboy. You blame the media, now you're defending.
Hold on. I'm not blaming the media. I'm not defending him. I'm saying that's what he said. He was willing to lose it all over the fact that he felt that he was wrong. How is that me defending him? I'm just saying what he said.
Yeah, but he was kind of forced to buy Twitter, so I mean,
Opinion.
Yes. What are we talking about here?
Opinion, moderate.
We're talking about
Journalist, I have a question for
investment.
you.
So back to my original
Sure.
question, I was asking if he's shooting himself in the foot for Tesla and for Twitter doing all this. I'm not getting political into
and that's an
what he's
interesting
doing.
question. I mean, if he thought his stock was overvalued and he took a risk at that valuation, he might not feel like he's shooting himself in the foot. I mean, maybe he's not. Maybe he took a risk and he got his.
Why would
got
he
his stock
want
out
to
at a
bring
super high
down the value
valuation.
of his own stock, though?
Maybe he thought it was going down anyway and it was super high. So his company is still making money. So he took the money out, played around. I mean, he's rich. He could afford it. He's not hurting. He's not starving.
What I'm saying is yes, he is shooting himself in the foot because
he's going to make all those sales.
We'll see. I mean, he might feel confident about Tesla's position going into this recession versus the other auto dealers. I mean, he might feel very confident about where it's going. So we'll see. History will tell us. We'll see if this billionaire's right or if us dumbasses are right.
Yeah, that's very true. But one thing I can say is he acts as if he's going up against Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos is smart by keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah, he could have played it a lot better. I agree with that.
How do we feel
Journalist?
about PayPal?
Journalist, I have a question for you. So you've mentioned that Volkswagen owns, or let's say not owns, but has shares in a lot of other companies. Because they have shares in a lot of other companies, do they have access to their technology?
It's not shares. They have ownership. So Porsche,
they have ownership over
Bugatti.
Porsche, Lamborghini.
Yeah, they
those
own the
ones.
companies. They own
They
it's
own
like
them out,
subsidiaries. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a group. You might as well look at them as like RTX.
Right.
They just
And
get to keep the name
I would
over.
like to refer to one specific company. They own Bugatti, and Bugatti has a partnership with Rimac. What do you know about Rimac?
Nothing.
They're an awesome car. They're very high-powered electric supercar.
Look it up.
Croatian or Czech?
They have some of the best EV tech in the world.
Sorry, I forgot which country they're in.
Croatia.
Croatia. Okay.
Oh, Croatia! Hold on. You are you are cousin of Simple Vice. Welcome. First of all, welcome
No,
to the
I'm not
European
Croatian.
Union. No? Oh, sorry.
I'm not Croatian, but yes, I'm from the European Union.
Okay, then nothing. Go on. So what's with Bugatti and the EV tech?
I was just curious about Rimac. So Rimac has some of the best EV tech in the world, and they have a partnership with Bugatti, and Bugatti is owned by Volkswagen. So I was wondering if Volkswagen has access to this tech or not.
They may, but again, Bugattis and that doesn't actually make them a lot of money. Okay, they're very expensive, but the overhead is enormous for those types of. It's more of a showpiece.
Yeah.
It's
Bugatti actually sells their cars at a loss. So a lot of what they put into Bugatti, basically they have that company strictly for R&D purposes. So I think if they can get any like actionable like technology for EVs, it's definitely going to be to Volkswagen's advantage.
Every time Bugatti sold a Veyron, that was $1 million loss per unit.
maybe they make it back in tires.
Like I said, I think they have Bugatti for R&D, and it's just a massive tax write-off.
Vivos was up 280.
I'm sorry. Volkswagen lost $6.25 million on every $1.2 million Bugatti sold. So that was a total loss of $2.3 billion.
Yeah, it's a development branch and a vanity project. That's what it is.
Just like Formula One.
Yep.
Yeah, they do get to keep the research they done on the car.
Yeah, I mean that's all how
Since
that's
they
all
own
luxury things
Bugatti,
work.
and Bugatti would have the research, yeah.
And that's beneficial for the other car brands they own.
I mean that's been true for a very long time, right? Like look at like every single, like a HUD display and all of that stuff. It's like 10 years before it gets into more more daily drivers, I would say. Affordability is a different question.
Yeah, so like basically what Volkswagen does is they put it in a Bugatti to see if they can make it work. And then once it does, they try to find out ways to make it more profitable and affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
So something, I mean, the 15% tax is going to now impact, right? That's come on this year for all American companies. Will this be an indicator of the financial management of the when will that take into effect? Will it be the next tax year that we'll really see it, or will it be in coming up in May or whatever?
What's the 50% tax rate for?
Sorry, it was a bit breaking up, but my understanding was that all companies there's a absolute lowest amount of taxation that they are going to be accountable for. Maybe I've misunderstood.
Are you asking about the 15% tax that all the corporate companies have to pay this year?
Right. So when does that come on? When does that come into effect? I wasn't quite.
I think they start paying that beginning of this year or something like that. So it goes in the next tax quarter effect or something. I don't know. How does it look?
I've already heard it on a couple earnings call that like they've some of the bigger companies have already accounted for this and they've already whatever done their financial magic to make it look like there's no other nothing else is hurting. But I'm just wondering. Okay, so the next earnings calls will have this impacted is people's understanding.
Yeah, so I have I have a play right here. I want to see if anyone feels the same way I feel. So I feel like the stock LVMH ticket number LVMUY. I feel like this stock in the future is going to be a luxury brand almost like what a Berkshire Hathaway approach, and I think it has tremendous opportunity for growth, and they're gonna keep recruiting more companies, and this guy ain't gonna stop, and it's gonna get ridiculous.
You mean LVMH, the French holding company?
Yes, by Bernard Arnault, and he passed Elon Musk in during the recession. I mean, during the stimulus, everything, PPP, everyone wants to buy Gucci, Louis, and all this shit, and he owns 60 luxury brands, and he's kind of like he's taking like a Berkshire.
Yeah, it's the top, kind of conglomerate in the luxury. I think there is nothing equivalent to this company, but this company is always trading a bit expensive, I would say. Well, I'm not sure because the growth rate, it's a very specific niche. You cannot like they say the luxury niche is never in recession, never they go through crisis. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to, you basically have to make an assumption, like whatever happens to the real world, it's not gonna affect the revenue and margins trend of this type of companies, right? And that's why you will always have these type of companies trading at 30p ratio, 20 high p. I think it's still 26 right now, PE ratio. Okay. Yeah, that's the only reason I never kind of buy these stocks, because as you guys know, I'm a fucking value investor. So yeah, but yeah, it's a good option to
But I'm
consider.
saying room for long term, because this guy's the richest guy in the world. He's gonna keep getting more companies to add on the board. He's not gonna stop.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the number of billionaires and millionaires, keep increasing every single year, from China, from India, from all around the world. So yeah, there is a huge market there. Yeah. Opinion.
Hello.
Yeah, opinion. How would you, let's say, value my behavior right now? You think I'm behaving well? I'm kind of talking as you expect me to basically respect the audience is.
Yeah, I think
You've been
doing
as
quite well.
polite as a choir boy.
You're bringing some good thoughts and insight to the table, which I appreciate.
But
kind of wish you would
that's
swear-
not the question. That's not the question. I already assume that I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm talking about the way I talk. Like, is it like this, without insulting, without offending?
Well, I have a question, journalist. Do you have a twin brother? Because whoever this journalist is, he come in being a cool cat, cracking Greta Thunberg jokes about Croatia. And you're kind of rude to the lucid dude, but overall, you seem like a pretty chill cat.
Yeah, and you really, really are appreciative and respectful of people with lower intelligence than you. So there's a plus there.
Well, I'm only being kind because I only see 400 in the audience. This is a very low for me to basically be real. Whenever I see up to, let's say, above 700, then I have to be completely honest.
Is there a GoFundMe where we can donate to the whatever meds you took today? And then also, what's the ticker? Because I want to invest in that company.
I think everybody's just intimidated by him, so that's why not everybody's here today.
So when they're say 800 people
Yeah,
in the
I'm
audience,
absolutely by you.
journalist, when there's like over 700 or 800 people, do you do the talks naked? Because it sounds like you're getting off on this like some kind of sadist.
Well, because it's very hard to basically talk to a big audience, because I'm used to talking to big audience in real life, not like you, bunch of losers sitting at home in front of a screen. So I know.
Oh, never mind. He's back.
Sir, I'm on my phone.
Well, I
If you take yourself out of the equation, guys, and just listen to him, it's really, really nice. It's really good to hear him. You don't take it personally. You'll just let it roll right off your back and appreciate what he has to offer. Let's go, journalists. Come on, insult me some more.
Yeah, I agree, man. If we got this,
Well, actually, no. Actually, I'm sorry.
rich
That's my point. Is
investor,
he's not
genius
insulting
investor
you
in here.
unless you identify yourself that way.
Well, he doesn't insult me. Period. It's impossible to offend me. I think it's funny. I think he has split personalities. I think we had his twin brother in here earlier.
Hey,
I think it's so
where
beautiful
is
that he's
Hardy?
such a genius investor, and he takes his time to talk to us. I appreciate that.
Well, I do ask opinion. I'm suggesting opinion to go even more interactive. Like, I would like to share with you slides and models, but no one is allowing me to basically.
I'm going to say
teach
that
you.
was sarcasm there.
Put that in the post. Do a DD in the post. You can put links to your slides.
No. That's for the average people to share their bullshit and memes. I don't participate in posts anymore. If you want to listen or to basically get advantage of my knowledge, you will have to allow me to have a proper stage, proper, I don't know, Discord or whatever.
Well, they're putting
Dude,
it up
make
on
a YouTube video
They're
and
doing
put the link in the chat. It's just that simple.
Well, hold on.
How
Hey,
how
guys,
many
you guys, look,
YouTubers? How many YouTubers do you
take him at
have?
his word.
Like, It's millions of YouTubers. I'm
Hey, I want to
outstarting
know,
them.
can I sign up and come to one of your classes live? Because I really enjoy getting berated live. It would make me the happiest person ever.
It's for free.
You
It's
have
for
a, you have
free.
a Patreon or Substack.
You don't charge extra for that, right?
I don't charge. My only like limitation is opinion. If opinion wants me to talk, I can talk. Otherwise, he bans me or he bullies me. He kicks me out. So yeah.
Yeah, opinion is kind of a bully. I have to agree with you there.
Yeah, he is a fucking bully.
Hey,
He told me earlier not to even tune in.
Journalist, you said that you want to short the FTSE.
Yes, I am already shorting FTSE.
You are already shorting FTSE. I would like to direct your attention towards Turkey. In the last 6 months, the Turkish market nearly doubled in dollar terms.
You mean inflation?
No, so in dollar terms.
He's talking about US dollars.
Okay.
Yeah. So, would you like to share your knowledge about that? I mean, if you want to talk, if you want to do some DD about that, would you like to do that?
I kind of I'm following one of the best, I think, investable stocks in Turkey. I have invested several times, but the last year I kind of missed it because I don't know, the inflation in Turkey was really worrying. Okay, so what you see right now, even though you are saying in dollar terms, you still have to compute the inflation. You know, there. On top of the inflation, what happens is that all the emerging stocks received a massive inflow because obviously the US was overvalued, and once the money leaves the US market, it has to go to the undervalued market, okay, for the next cycle. And this was basically Turkey, okay, very low PE ratio. Very kind of high growing companies, even though these companies were, quite well established or blue chip, if you may call it, they were still at the very kind of low PE ratio, and the risk is always overstated for these countries, right? Do you know Turkey? Are you from there? Or because for me, Turkey is like, if you have been there, like the economy has a massive potential. It's, just ignoring all the political kind of
just ignoring everything else.
No, everything else. Just ignore the political headlines from the mass media and Biden administration. No one cares outside of the U.S. Okay, their economy is not that bad as they sell. Like if you travel around the world, as well, I'm a traveled person, as you may kind of guess. So yeah, it's a very investable kind of market.
What's their inflation at right now?
Oh, it's kind of. I think last time I saw it was plus 80%. I don't know where they stand right now. Like the last reading was. It's like.
Yeah,
it's like
okay. It's hitting 80% for the last few quarters. Whoa.
That's abusive, and that's why you see all the money flowing into assets. And one of the main assets and the most liquid one is the stock market. That's why, even though they have a massive inflation rate in US dollar terms, sorry, you will still see a huge benefit because the money has to be put somewhere. Like you cannot have the money in the bank accounts. Okay, it gets devalued.
Yeah, but you can't. I mean, you're not so you're just like hoping for like 20% gains so that you only lose 60% instead of 80%.
No. It's more than 20. In the stock market, you will get like a very high kind of return because everyone is putting their money to basically save the value. So you basically kind of overvalue the assets, let's say, of the country, to escape the inflation.
Are they?
Ultimately,
the last thing I read was
off or out of the country, right? If you you try to get the currency exchange, right? You try to invest in assets in a country where that's not taking place.
No, but that's a problem. When these things happens in these kind of countries, the first thing they do is they ban the outflow of money, so you cannot actually buy even dollars, okay? Or you cannot send money abroad. They put limitations. That's why you see a massive increase in the. Similarly, you can basically compare with two other countries, okay?
Lebanon.
Well, I have in mind Argentina and Iran. Okay, look at their stock market during the last years. Similar, same thing. You cannot put your money out of the country. You cannot buy, even you are limited to buy gold because obviously, it would protect you and you will have an outflow. And also you cannot buy foreign currency. So what do? You go to the stock market.
Is their central bank run by their president, prime minister? Is that how it works? Is there not a separate? It's not a separate group.
Yeah, it was kind of a family member, if I'm not wrong, of Erdogan. But then they changed it. I don't remember, but it was like the Erdogan is basically imposing his own policy upon the central bank. So the central bank is not independent in Turkey. Yeah, there is a huge debate who is right, who is not, because obviously he doesn't want to fall into the global central bank policies because he's on the other side of the because the world is not unipolar anymore. Okay.
Which just means inflation is going to be just more. Everything's going to cost more.
Well, China, Russia, they are trying to play their own kind of rules out of the global, let's say G7 kind of play game. Okay. And Turkey has become part of the same scenario where basically they are buying.
Don't forget India. India wants to have a seat at that table.
Yeah, India as well. So I'm very happy to see the US hegemony coming to an end. I hope I can see your fucking empire go down.
You're talking to the wrong person. I'm not American.
Oh yeah, I'm talking to the audience. 390, let's say 390 minus you. Regards of the US. So yeah, hell is coming, guys.
So Turkey's about to go into another election. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put, I don't know, how would you buy?
No, just in terms of instability. Yeah. In terms of instability. So that means he's going to be playing games with inflation, with the economy, to make things a little bit easier. So there might be an easing of things for the next few months, and then it's going to just skyrocket again.
Yeah, basically he doesn't care because now the new rules of the game is that they realize that the US, let's say the Anglo-Saxon world, okay, played a very kind of tough game through a very clear controlling mechanism, which was money, okay, money supply. So now for you see that the Russians and the Chinese, India and Turkey, for example, they are not going to change their internal and external policies just because there is a GDP print by IMF saying that, hey, be careful, you must follow this and this and this financial policy, meaning that you get you get borrowings from, I don't know, US or UK or whatever to save your economy. Otherwise, this and this will happen. This was like the control mechanism by the West on these countries. Okay, China, by the way, never allowed those kind of things. That's why we always say China is not transparent. Is because they don't believe that other countries should dictate how their policies, internal, external, should be realigned with the central banks or whatever.
No, they want to do it themselves, right? That's what they're like. No, we don't want yours. We want everyone to use ours, which is fine. It's their prerogative to do what they want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how the Americans in the room are just silent, humiliated, listen to us. Yeah, this is the new reality, guys. So yeah.
Well, allow me to speak on behalf of the American military-industrial complex. You better watch your
Okay.
tone. We'll bring democracy to your homeland, sir.
Hey, journalist, I do find it interesting to hear someone in the UK talk about the end of an industrial complex dominating the world, and all
That's
that
right.
stuff.
As you can kind of guess, I'm not a UK net like I my origins is not in the UK, you know. So
You're a little bit, just a little bit more east. No.
Is it Spain?
Spain, yeah, I'm from
Oh,
Spain.
okay.
Right, the place where they talk with a lisp because their
Oh
king had a lisp.
God, Spanish.
Hi
Hey guys.
everyone.
Hello. Can you listen?
Yes, we will listen to you.
Valiendo madre.
Yeah, I was listening to all your discussions. It was quite nice. Yeah, I also have actually observed similar things in my country stock market also. I am from India, and 2 years back, like approximately 2 years back, our market used to follow like a duplicate US stock market. Like if US stock market turns red, the next day when our market opens, it used to automatically it used to open automatically red. But nowadays our markets are like very much outperforming the US markets. Like US markets are down from their all-time high nearly 19 to 20%, like Dow Jones, but our markets are at like all-time high. And when the Dow Jones also like closes in red, our market also tends to open in red, like starts opening in the red, but like quickly turns into green. So I have noticed like these changes like happening in the stock markets of India. So I was like very happy, like now we are not dependent on any country, because earlier we were like very dependent on US markets and the behavior of US markets.
We are not slave anymore of the US people, ignorant US people. What do you have to say? Come on, talk.
Yet your economies are still
Dude.
dollar tied.
Dude, you were never a slave of the U.S. people. It's like the politicians that do this. So why?
Actually, the US stock market
You're
are the
complaining
FIs.
to dude. You're complaining to people that literally have zero to do with the problem. So just remember that.
You
You're
vote.
just
You
making
vote
yourself
for,
look like an
but
idiot.
you vote for your government, right? You do have a voting right, huh?
No, we don't vote for the military-industrial complex. Those are chosen positions. All of the positions in power in the United States are
And we can't control where we're born.
non-democratic positions. What did Spain do in Mexico again?
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, can we not get into geopolitical blah blah blah?
It's all about money here. So if you got plays that relate to those politics, that's fair game.
I say call on Lockheed Martin to bring the democracy to Spain.
But India is growing really big right now because a lot of companies within the China shutting down, and a lot of companies are building a lot of manufacturers in India, and the workers are cheaper to use.
Hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I also think that India is also moving like into a very crony capitalism state, because one businessman named Gautam Adani, you must have heard his name. He's in the like top 3, top 4 richest man in the world. He has like 30x to 40x his net worth in just a matter of like 1 year, all due to the loans that the elected government has given to him. So he's just built on the debt. He has just his stocks
So
has
how
just
is his net
risen.
worth high if that's all debt? It's from loans.
So actually, what major people think that he uses the loan to increase the value of his shares, and then place that shares to and then give that shares to bank and take the loan from the bank, and then repeat the process.
And you're not telling us the stock ticker? Come on, give us the ticker so we can make some money out of this.
Exactly.
Because like I have seen also Elon Musk has also risen. Elon Musk as the Tesla stock has also risen like abruptly in like very quickly in the past few years. But but Elon Musk only has like one car company listed, like Tesla. But
What
in
is the
the
ticker company of the other company, and what does the company do?
it's the Gautam Adani companies are basically like enterprises, Adani Enterprises, Adani Total Gas. It's like a not a car company, not a electric company. It's
And
like
what
a
is the ticker
What
company?
are the
mineral
ticker
resources
ticker
company.
number?
Mineral resources company. It provides electricity. It provides gas. It provides
What's the
green
ticker
energy.
number?
What do you mean by ticker?
All right,
The
all right.
symbol,
Yeah,
the symbol,
just
sorry, the
okay.
symbol,
Let's
the symbol, the
move on.
stock symbol.
No stock symbol. Sorry. Okay, let's level up this. Okay. All right. Ticker. I'm buying Disney. Okay. I think in the 85 range, it's a good moment to basically buy Disney. If you see the forecast of the number of subscribers in the next 2 to 3 years, it's gonna kind of overtake or be at the same level of Netflix. Okay. On top of that, if you add the conventional business of Disney, on top of obviously their Disney Plus, I was talking about Disney Plus, you're kind of buying either one or the other for free, right? Because Disney has all this big network kind of media industry. Then they have this thematic park kind of bullshit, and then you have the Disney Plus, which is basically the peer to Netflix. If you run a free cash flow model on the 3 separated business, you're kind of buying one of the business segment for free. So I would say that 85 range, 88 range, you should start kind of building your position in Disney.
I agree. I like that opinion a lot.
I think I'm gonna buy a Hershey's put today. I think their debt comes due, or they have to refi in March or May. I don't remember. I'd have to double check, but it's just looking a little overblown. Ticker is HSY. And they haven't refinanced since rates have gone up, so this will be when they refinance, their debt's going to be very expensive. It's going to be long dated, probably June or July, but for HSY.
Well, GME is up 1.3%, so I think we all know that means rockets coming, moon soon. So let's get in, boys. We did it.
Keep in mind too, this summer, spring, summer, fall, Hershey Park, the giant amusement park, will be open, so that might help with income possibly.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's owned by Hershey Trust Company. It's a fantastic amusement park. They got some best roller coasters, and it smells like chocolate all day, so it's pretty cool.
Will anybody invest in Tesla now for long term?
We already talked about Tesla like during 2 hours. Our
At these
advice,
prices?
yeah, our advice to you is basically go and learn what does ticker mean, then come back and feel free to join us and talk to us. Opinion. Hey, opinion.
What?
This talk is kind of dead. I think I should leave because I'm a bit busy today. So
I think you should leave too.
That's too bad.
yeah. So basically, just have a kind of think about my condition. If I'm allowed to talk about let's say every day. Today was an exception. Usually I don't have that much of a time. Okay, but usually I would have like 100. Let's say 20 to 180 seconds, which is 2 to 3 minutes in your world.
Hey, I got a question.
Shut up. And in each talk, if I want to share very quickly my bets, it would be nice to basically mute all these, let's say, unqualified people, okay, except for yourself, obviously, Hardy and Simple Wise, okay. Because I've been receiving a lot of DMs. Thank you, people. They would love to hear, like, in more details the bets that I share. So yeah, just think about it. Let me know. DM me. Take care of yourself, everyone.
Journalist. If we mute all the unqualified people, how can you share your thoughts?
Because you would become listeners. Okay, you should only listen.
Hang on.
Is there a way to like
Wait, give me a
whoosh
second. I want you to think about that one for a second. Think about what I said. You'll piece it together. Take a little bit.
All right. Journalist, just 1 second. Before you get going,
yeah,
I don't have to mute anyone when Hardy speaks. I don't have to mute anyone when Luce speaks. Because when they speak, people are genuinely excited and want to hear what they have to say. Because they've earned people's respect. So they do so by bringing great information to the table, and by being respectful to others as well, and not cutting in when they're speaking.
Like me.
So, yes, you are also a great example of somebody who doesn't cut in when they're speaking. When others are speaking.
And the bets that I brought, basically, you could have made a lot of money, but given that everyone tried to bully me, make fun of me, they lost a huge opportunity. So let's see if the next time they can basically get advantage of. That's why I was suggesting maybe, I should allow.
Part of it is obviously bringing good information to the table, but also being respectful to others. And I think that's why people stop and listen to Hardy and Luce.
But I don't know if I can learn about having patience with kids, because it's like talking about investment to kids. It's like they are not intellectually there. I'm just trying to kind of force them to be there. The only way I can do that is
you're doing that like right now. Like, how many times did you interrupt me while I was speaking to you now?
Oh, sorry, Canadian. Go on.
I'm just saying this is a good way to earn respect and to have people listen to you when you speak. So I think if you can do that, people will start to love you a lot. I've sent you a couple DMs, so I think you should take a look at those. But probably for today, like you said, I think we're all exhausted. A lot of topics, went through a lot of different things. So let's wrap up for today and see you all tomorrow. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me. Have a good day, guys.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Bye. Thanks.
See you all tomorrow. Cheers.